I have been hit on by women a lot, but few have been as persistent and, quite honest, stalkerish as talk show host Mandy Connell. Just remember, the court order says 3 feet. It says 3 feet.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? That's how you start the show.
So, Mandy Connell from KOA Radio.
Yes.
News Radio, KOA.
KOA NewsRadio.
That's
850 AM,
and
94.1 FM.
By the way, getting the FM transmitter was huge for KOA.
That was something that I've been worked on for a really long time, and it just, nothing moves quickly in this industry. It really
hats off
doesn't.
to Greg Foster, your boss, who, I mean, that was, I talked to him about that, a decade ago, and he was like, no, we really need to do this, and somehow he made it happen, because people don't go on the AM dial.
No, and it's unfortunate because the AM dial still has some really good programming on it that is still kind of AM exclusive. I don't know what's going to happen to the AM band. At some point we're all just going to go, okay, let's just end the charade. Okay, let's stop pretending.
I wonder if the AM band at some point it's just streamed when everybody's car and everybody's phone is a hotspot, and if 5G is there, the only reason you'll need a radio is when the power goes out and you need the news.
And by the way, you need that radio, and make it a hand crank. As a native Floridian who has spent a lot of time in the dark after hurricanes, hand crank radio, don't trust your batteries, but you got to have a radio for that. But other than that, I mean, the stuff that's happening technologically in radio at iHeart, I can't speak to any other company, is insane. Like the stuff that they're taking things out of the traditional transmitter and putting so much stuff on the cloud. So in theory, you could run any radio station from anywhere in the world. So the notion that somehow I have to be in the studio to do my show, first of all, got blown up last March. And
by the way, I was the pioneer in that, because literally a few years into doing radio, probably 15, 16 years ago, I convinced them to let me have, to do it at home. I had to pay for it all.
Yeah.
And so I had to get a special ISDN line, which cost a lot of money.
They don't even do those anymore.
I know.
They won't support them anymore. They're just like, sorry, you're done.
Yeah, it's the 8-track tape.
Exactly, but they were awesome.
Yeah, but now, all right, so if that's the case, and you can do it at home, and anybody else can do it at home, and that's why we have all these podcasts, the idea of the brand of a radio station really changes. What was great about KOA, still great about KOA, is that it's local.
Right.
It had local personalities to talk about local issues, but you wonder, can't that be done on a different format? I mean, you say the industry's in flux. It is being disrupted like nothing we've ever seen.
I will say this, that I love podcasting. I mean, I am so high on podcasting overall, and when I meet young people who want to go into talk radio, the first thing I tell them is, you have to start a podcast right now.
I told them, get any other job. We don't need any more competition.
No, of course, I'm a lifter-upper. You're a pull-up-the-ladder-behind guy. So, I'm a handout. You're a smack-them-down kind of guy. But
I teach them reality.
Well, I try to help them actually get into the industry, because I do believe that the next big radio stars are going to come out of podcasting. Yeah. Because we've decimated the minor leagues,
The question is, will there be radio? If you're a successful podcaster, and Joe Rogan is probably the poster child, why would you want a radio show where you're going to be interrupted with commercials and have to do sports and news announcements? What? And I can go as long as I want or as short as I want.
I have a friend in Florida who has a wildly inappropriate podcast. Big shout out for A Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan. And it's wildly inappropriate. I want to be very clear, easily offended, do not listen to this podcast. But they have cultivated a relationship from a prior relationship with iHeart. So now their show, they do an hour show for corporate. So it just is another opportunity to expose your podcast to a new audience that otherwise may not know about it. So there's going to be a lot of that.
iHeart being kind of like the iTunes of, so they're doing the podcast, we put it on our...
Exactly. So
maybe not our station, but on our platform.
Oh, no, it was on the station.
Oh, really?
It is over the air. They do a cleaner version of their show, and it's like one night a week or whatever, but it draws a lot of people to our podcast.
When they put Blazing Saddles on television, it's like, How are they going to put Blazing Saddles on TV? It
sounds like the tape is skipping.
Yeah.
Like there's just empty spots where they just don't even try and dub over. How many times can you come up with a creative word that sounds like the N-word but isn't the N-word? You know what I mean? It's like, what are you going to do? So it's just like a lot of mouthed words, like a ninja movie. You know, you just add it in the soundtrack.
Who are you calling a nagger? Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
that's
pretty much
it. Yeah.
All right. So you've been here for
8 years.
8 years.
Yes.
As I said, it seems like 16.
Feels like 100.
It feels like 100.
I got here as soon as I could. Like honestly, I got here as soon as I could, and moved here for everything that Colorado was 8 years ago, but it is no longer.
And that's really what I wanted. I wanted to talk to you about this because for those of us, I mean, I grew up here. I got here when I was like 6. It's all I know, and the alienation that I feel with what Colorado is now, this idea, this command and control state of Colorado is so foreign to me and so awful. And I know they want me to leave. I get it, but I'm wondering. So you've only been here for 8 years. I mean, what it took me to get through undergrad school. You've been here that long, and you're noticing a change.
Oh, significantly. I mean, when we first moved out here, my husband retired out of Fort Carson in the 90s.
You're married?
Stop it. My husband retired out of Fort Carson in the 90s, and when I first met him in Florida, years later, he said, I'm moving back to Colorado. And I said, well, good for you. And then we started dating, and he said, no, that's serious, that moving to Colorado thing. So if you don't want to move to Colorado, then we shouldn't date. So obviously we're married. Oh, yeah. He just threw the gauntlet down, the Colorado gauntlet down.
Whoa. Stop there. Because that says Colorado, which is, you might be the perfect life mate for me. You might be the one God intended. But if you're not going to that free state of Colorado, I'm moving on. I'm getting a bad woman and I'm going to Colorado.
Exactly. I'll go by myself. No. And we came out on vacation because I'd been here a couple times, just very, very short. I was a flight attendant, so I did layovers. And
you know how many jokes you just lined up?
I know.
Why would you do that to me?
I know. I'm sorry. I am who I am, John. So it's a target-rich environment. So there you go.
So am I.
Yeah. So I laid over here a couple times, but we came out a couple for a visit, and I was here honestly like 20 minutes and went, oh my God, look at how good my hair looks. Because, when you're from humidity all the time, Colorado's magic on your hair.
I've had women who said the opposite.
No.
I get body when I go to Florida. The humidity is great. I get curly hair.
I stuck my finger in a socket hair when I go to massive humidity. So, I'll pass. We just went to Costa Rica recently, and I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear my hair in a ponytail for the next 9 days because I can't control it. It's just insane. But nonetheless.
Oh, the pain, I can only imagine.
It was brutal. But one of the things I noticed when we came, this is probably 2005, right? 2006, somewhere in there. Everything was so clean. Downtown was beautiful. We went to the Springs. It was beautiful and clean, and the people were friendly and nice wherever you went. Everybody was just super chill and really laid back, and there was a nice mix of cowboys and not cowboys, and I felt very, very, very comfortable here the first time I came here.
When you say mixture of cowboys and not cowboys, what that gives me the picture of growing up here was you could run into some guy and not know he was a multimillionaire.
Right.
There was not that class pretense of, oh, he's a suit. No, he's a cattle rancher and he's worth $500 million.
Yeah.
Or that guy in the suit, no, he's worth nothing. But there also the idea that there are cowboys, guys in suits, because everybody was doing their own thing freely. There was this idea, you do you, I do me. We want to work together, great. If we don't want to work together, great. But we're all here because we want to do our own thing.
Yeah. And since I was here in 2005, the word that I used with a friend of mine not too long ago when I was kind of expressing frustration, because after wanting to come back here for so long, now my husband and I are like, but do we want to retire here? Mm-hmm. Do we want to be here when the bill comes due for all of the stuff that has been passed in the last 3-4 years? Because it will. And do we want to be a part of that? And we're making those kind of hard choices. And a friend of mine said, I thought you loved it there. I said, there's just this feeling of artifice about Denver especially, and that feels very fake, that was not here before. And I've lived.
You said something I could not understand at all.
Artifice, kind of a facade.
Actually, no, I was thinking, you're thinking about retiring. Were you working for the same radio company that I worked for?
Eventually, someday. I mean, I'll be 100, but it's fine.
Right.
You know, I don't have Mike Rosen money, so it's going to be a while.
Nobody has Mike Rosen money.
Yeah, exactly. But it is. I would have never conceived of even thinking about that when we moved here in 2010, and that's disappointing.
Yeah, there was this feeling. Plant my flag here.
Yeah.
I live here. I die here. In the free West. This is the West.
Where rugged individualism still is important and it's respected. And when people go out and blaze a trail, other people go, good on you.
Exactly.
That's what I wanted to be a part of. And I just feel like now, on the way Monday, the Tri-County Health meeting, I listened to for like 2 hours as people called in to talk about mask mandates and not mask man. Okay. The people on the phone, all well-intentioned, all cared about their kids, all, really big hearts, but they had no problem issuing their totalitarian edicts that they wanted the Tri-County Health Department to institute for them because they are uncomfortable without a mask. And that just felt very foreign and very uncomfortable. And the Colorado that I thought this was when we first moved here certainly would not have put up with that kind of nonsense.
At the Independence Institute, we say there's this Colorado character. The Colorado character is that craving we have to be free to make our own decisions. And it is really a craving. And it's being replaced by a Californian character of, I know what's right for you.
It's narcissism, though, John. I mean, you can call it the California character. It's pure narcissism. It's the absolute idiots who go out to our national parks and tag their names on rocks at Garden of the Gods. I'm not going to lie. I think those people need to be beaten and left for dead in a ditch. I'm like, but that's narcissism. They think they're going to improve on that. They think they're going to improve on my life by putting what they believe to be true on me as well as themselves. And it's just infuriating to me. I'm pretty smart. I'm good at making my own decisions. I'm still walking and talking. I have all my appendages. I've done pretty good for the last 52 years. I don't need their help. I really don't. And that's been very frustrating for me. And this last 18 months has just exacerbated it beyond anything that I could possibly imagine, where people are so concerned about me.
And other people's business.
Yes.
It is amazing. And it was disappointing for me. We've talked about this before, that when the closures came, that people, even conservatives, were like, well, yeah, we need to do this. And I was like, wait a second. The government is closing down churches, even though we have a right to free speech. The government is closing down anytime we want to get together, even though we have a constitutional right of assembly. So,
but you're going to kill your grandma.
Right. And the best meme I saw was that great painting of the founders at the doing the Constitution, and they're all there, and it had the guy saying, "All right, just to be sure, none of this counts if there's a virus, right?" That, and the complicity that happened. And I'm not talking about we shouldn't take precautions, but the acceptance of authority to the state, I had never witnessed in my life.
And well beyond that, I wouldn't even say acceptance of authority. We instantly, overnight, created all of these little people that were there to police your behavior if you dared to step outside the dogma. I was in Walmart, and it was after I had been vaccinated. I'm very pro-vaccine. I think the vaccine prevents death and serious injury, so I'm very pro-vaccine. So I'm in Walmart with my son. I'm already vaccinated. The mask mandate's not on, and I'm in a Denver Walmart, and I didn't wear a mask in. Right. I was like, first of all, people barely wear pants at Walmart, and they want me to wear a mask. So I go into Walmart with my son, and we're walking around getting some stuff, and this girl, a young African-American woman, probably 25, 26, walks up to me, and she's got a mask on. And she pulls her mask down and goes, "I'm vaccinated." That's the first thing she says, "I'm vaccinated." And I go, "Oh, me too, great, okay." She goes, "I have to ask you a question." And I said, "Okay, what's the question?" She goes, "Well, do people give you the evil eye when you're not wearing a mask? Because I'm vaccinated, but my friends say that when you don't wear a mask, everybody stares at you like really mean." And I stopped and I said, "I'm going to give you a piece of advice that will really make the rest of your life so much better. Stop giving a crap about what people in Walmart look at you like when you're going shopping without a mask, and apply that to every area of your life. You'll be much happier going forward." And she walked away from me with the mask under her chin, which I took as a partial victory. But
the chin diaper is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the chin diaper.
Well, it hides all those trouble areas. Just hides that. No.
Oh, and I mean, there were pluses about all this. One, it helped my love life.
Oh, really?
Well, because
you had an excuse not to date?
Because you couldn't get within 6 feet, and before women wouldn't get within 10 feet. So I'm making forward progress. I'm pretty happy about that. And when you cover up half my face.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad, yeah.
Not bad.
I will say the first time when the mask mandate, and I'm a rule follower, I should be clear about this. I am the person that
you are not a rule follower.
Oh my gosh, I'm such a rule follower. Oh, you have no idea. I want a clear set of guidelines that I need to operate in, and I'll decide whether or not I want to participate, right? That's what life should be. And after the mask mandate was over, I went to the store and I was like, dang it. Now I have to put makeup on and stuff again, but I have not. I just have not. I've not gone back to my previous vanity routine because why bother? And no one cares. I just don't care anymore.
I had an older female friend who said something to the effect of, you know, in the Muslim world, the older ladies, they don't mind the veils. And they particularly don't mind the veils going on the younger ladies.
Exactly.
And she said, I think there's a lot of that going on right now with masks.
And I appreciate that people have a different view than I do on masks.
I have an appreciation that people have different views on everything. Right. The difference is, don't mandate me, don't coerce me to your point of view, and I won't coerce you to my point of view. Well, you don't want guns? Don't buy one.
It's like Ron DeSantis getting so much crap in Florida because he is preventing school districts from instituting mask mandates. I disagree with that as well. I think that if a school district is responsive to the people in their district and they have to answer directly to those people, then why not let them make a choice? I mean, I may not like the choice. It may be a crappy choice.
Yeah, I don't know, because I live in a nannyistic world of Boulder.
You can move. I'm just letting you know there are other places.
But it
used to be Colorado, but not anymore.
Well, think what you can move. And I think about this, which is, part of it's like, hell no, I was here first. So you intolerant people come in and force your views on me. You have to wear the mask. Your kid can't go to school, which for my son meant he lost a year of education. As a Down syndrome kid, he just had, it was a waste of a year. And he doesn't have an extra year of education. That's why I'm suing them. No, you can't have that type of gun because it has a pistol grip on it, heaven forbid. So, I mean, I'm getting all this, and I believe either intentionally or not intentionally, they want people like us out.
Oh, 100%.
They don't want, people like me in their lily white, uppity community. And the question is, do you let them win, or do you go, I'm going to go someplace else? You mentioned, I want to get back to this, that you and your hubby, you're married?
Stop.
That you're thinking, wait, is this where I'm going to retire?
Yeah.
I know people who have left. They've gone to freer states, and they were as Colorado, and now they're living in Wyoming. I've got several friends, and it hurts me to think that they're just up and moving because they've been chased out by these intolerant, command and control fascists.
I got to see Antonin Scalia. This is not a non sequitur. It goes back to what you're saying.
I had dinner with him.
Well, I've just been one-upped on the devil's
there.
advocate right here. Right. Anyway, I saw him speak one time, and he said the greatest thing that the Founding Fathers ever did was the portability that is built into the United States of America for the very reason we're talking about. And I'll be perfectly frank, I grew up in Florida. When I grew up in Florida, it was pre-Disney, well, for a couple of years. And then I'm in North Florida, but I watched New York and New Jersey destroy South Florida. I mean, from what I knew when I was a kid, and now it's all creeped up the coast, and now Florida, as I knew it, almost doesn't exist anymore.
Really? Well, explain that to me, because when you look at the demographics of people moving into Colorado, they come from first California, then New York, then Illinois. So they have already...
Honestly, like the three worst places they could come from.
So even, they are acclimated to command and control and central planning. The outflow from Colorado are going to Wyoming, Texas, and then Florida. All non-income tax states, by the way.
Yeah.
And so Florida is seen as a free state now. And from your point of view, it isn't?
No, it's just different. It's different than and this is the point I was going to make. Growing up as a kid, I have my impressions as a kid the same way you have your impressions as a kid of Colorado. When you've gone through the full change and you know what it used to be, I think it's even harder to stick around and fight for what's left because you've seen how far it's fallen. I mean, holy criminy, I've only been here 8 years and I've seen just so many things that I loved about Colorado have completely been upended in the worst possible way. And so I know what happens, but I'd love to say that we all need to stand up and fight. I don't know if the people coming in now, especially the younger people that are moving here for a variety of reasons. I personally know some incredible young people that have moved here because they love the idea of
incredible young people.
There really are. They're wonderful. But
no, I hate all young people. They have energy and a high metabolism and hair.
Yeah.
I see no reason to even allow them.
They're all horrible. But they come here and they're not necessarily interested in the good mix of cowboys versus everybody else because they've never known that. Because the Colorado that they moved into in the last 5 years is so different and focused in a much different direction. And I do have young people in my life that are getting ready to leave. The cost of living is such that what's the point of being here if you're never going to be? They feel like, they're 27, 28 years old.
Buy a house.
Yeah, and I'm 28 years old and I can never buy a house here at the rate that it's going.
Yeah, and I think about it. I was 27 when we bought our house, and we managed to barely get into it. We had to rent out the basement and this little 2-bedroom thing, and now what do they do? Right.
Well, my nephew in Amarillo, Texas, is like 24 years old. He's getting ready to buy his first house because in Amarillo, Texas, you can do that, but you have to live in Amarillo, Texas. So there's trade-offs in everything, and I think that Colorado for a very long time has been able to rest on her laurels of what we have in this state: the beauty, the mountains, the hiking, the everything that we have here. But at some point, especially if everything catches on fire and burns down, that appeal's gone. So
let me try this one on for size. I believe that Colorado is today where California was mid-'60s, in that California was this destination place, lots of room, lots of growth. Man could be free. The weather was beautiful, the geography was beautiful, and people kept coming. And then the command and control, the central planning, the bad ideas started in the mid-'60s, but it took another 50 years for those bad policies to create where they are now. There was enough room, there was enough natural resources, there was enough balance, there was enough margin that they could do that. And Colorado's in the same situation. We've got natural resources, we've got room galore, people are coming here, businesses are still doing well because people keep flooding in, and so we can afford these stupid regulations like chasing out oil and gas, the Family Leave Act, which starts this next year with a massive payroll tax to help people not get employed again and screw small businesses and people getting on there. Minimum wage now going up in whatever city wants to do it. The gun preemption thing. I mean, we just go through all these things that are just making it worse. And over time, that's when it blows apart.
Well, and you look at California right now. California has one of the biggest welfare states in the country. They also have the highest levels of income inequality. So the notion that somehow all of these government programs are going to redistribute wealth from those who have to those who don't has already been disproven. We've already done this. We already know how it ends. And yet we're barreling down the same path. And my frustration is that I don't know if voters are just ignorant of the thing you just laid out so perfectly, or they don't care because they'd rather be seen voting for the right people who say the right things and issue the right platitudes. How else can you explain the Denver City Council?
Yeah. How do you have a bona fide communist on the city council and square that with what made Colorado this destination state?
Square it with what's happened in the last 2 years. And do you think any of those people are in real danger of losing their seats? Of course not, because they have a D behind their name. So it doesn't matter that the city of Denver burns to the ground by homeless people cooking meth in camps that are allowed to grow to massive proportions. None of that matters because these people are going to vote for the people with the right letter behind their name.
It's just affordable housing.
I know.
And how ridiculous is it that you talk about this issue like the vagrant issue, that it's about housing. It's not about housing.
No.
And by the way, if the left cared about housing, and this is my biggest beef, I think, is that the left still holds the mantle of fighting for poor people when they hate poor people. They despise poor people. They keep them trapped in failing schools because they hate them. They won't end these ridiculous urban growth boundaries. Colorado is 98 to 99% undeveloped. There's more room. You want cheap housing? It's there. Let people build, and we'll take care of that. They don't.
Traffic.
Yeah, they don't give poor people mobility. They force them to have a second-class life on transit, while everybody else gets a chance at the American dream by having real mobility. No, they hate the poor.
I don't think it's that they hate the poor. I just think
there's
like a master-pet relationship there.
Oh, I like
where,
that.
where they're a benevolent dictator. They make sure that they have the housing, the food, the little nuggets that they dole out like that. But ultimately, there's no real affection there. There's just, we're going to take care of you, you're going to vote for us, and that's how it's going to go. And we're going to take care of you badly, but you're still going to vote for us because nobody else is offering real alternatives. And I would love to hear some real noise coming from the Republican Party about the homeless issue downtown. And it is ugly. It is, in my mind, the least compassionate thing to allow a human being who is severely mentally ill or drug addicted to live like a feral animal on the street. That is not compassion. And until somebody has the stones politically to stand up and say, by handing out sleeping bags and tents, you're not helping, and that's not compassion. Compassion is forcing people who need treatment into treatment against their will, if that's what it takes, to get them sober and to get them on meds so that we can have a rational conversation. And I say this as someone who has a huge history of mental illness in my family. I mean, severe mental illness. I have a close relative who very recently was paranoid schizophrenic, and once you're 18, there's nothing your family can do, and he eventually overdosed on heroin in a cheap hotel room. So I'm not a person who runs around like some authoritarian saying, we should violate the rights of another human being lightly. I don't say that lightly.
Your term about compassion is dead on. Around the Independence Institute, we have homeless problem. Not only that, we're cleaning up bottles and needles and condoms and vomit and feces. And I'm like, wait a second, these people are breaking the law, but somehow we have to pay the cost.
Yep.
We've been broken into, we've had things stolen, we have to put in security systems, so we have to pay because you, the government, won't do your simple job of enforcing the laws. And I look at these people, and you mention compassion, they're there screaming at themselves, and you go, this is the opposite of compassion. This is cruelty.
It truly is. And unfortunately, I do think that we have to get back to some kind of, state mental health facility. And it's time to have a conversation, because when we emptied out the insane asylums because people advocated for community care and the pharmacological companies came in and said, we can medicate these people, and nobody thought to ask, what if they don't take their meds? So these problems were created because of that decentralization, because it was a bad story. And we have to have somebody brave enough to say, we have to commit to getting people significant care. And sometimes it's going to be against their will because these people are not in their right mind and they cannot be a responsible citizen. And with rights come responsibilities. And the people that I'm talking about now have completely abdicated their responsibilities because mentally they can't even begin to live up to them. And it's just a horrible situation.
You came after the Dick Lamb years. And
yes.
Dick Lamb is just one of the greats. One of his big regrets, I believe, from our conversations was ending those, whatever you want to call them, the insane asylum.
Yeah.
And there was terrible things happening.
Absolutely.
And it was wrong. And a lot of those folks can be mainstream, can be brought into society, but there needs to be a place for those people and a well-run place for those people.
Yep.
And I also but there's that other part of them. And Mike Kaufman, mayor of Aurora, when he did his stint, which I just thought was hysterical and wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah. When he really described them in thirds. Third of the people are kind of alcoholics, druggies. They know how to use the system. They go into the shelters at night and they beg in the day and they get drunk in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Then you had the crazy people, which we just talked about. But then the lifestyle people. How many young, healthy people do you see living in tents? They are living a bohemian lifestyle. When the city put down all these boulders, these rocks, because they kept coming up in the easement, and they're starting to move the rocks, these big rocks. And I watched them, and they're moving and put their tents up. You know, if you can move a rock to put up your tent,
you can get somebody to pay you to move a rock.
You can get somebody to pay you to move rocks.
No, and I think that if you aggressively just went on a campaign of making homelessness in Denver very uncomfortable, but you have to have a place for those people to go. You can't just roll through, as much as I would love to, in a heartless, horrible way sometimes when I get super frustrated, but ultimately, you know, if we have treatment facilities, we have a place where people can go get residential mental health help. I think that when you start peeling away those people and then you just concentrate on making it difficult for the lifestylers, you begin to solve the problem. But what we're doing now isn't solving anything. And
I'll go one more. You said about compassion, and because the city won't take care of this problem, I am becoming less compassionate.
Yep.
So we're talking about them, but let's talk about us. I don't see them as homeless. I see them as bums. I am now angry at them.
Well, when you clean up someone's poop enough times, you start to have a different image of them.
That's why I hate my kids. You know, it really
He
is.
doesn't really hate his kids. He doesn't.
No, really.
No, you really don't. Go ahead.
It's that now we've had to spend money for security. We've had to hire somebody to come and police the place. We had to put in cameras and alarms, and we had to redo the landscaping to make it uncomfortable to camp out. You know, and it's like, and so I am losing. I don't see them as human anymore because you, the government, won't take care of the situation. So congratulations, you've done whatever governments do, which is whatever you subsidize, you get more of, and what you punish, you get less of. You've subsidized the homeless, and now people throughout the metro area are less sympathetic to people who are truly homeless for no reason of their own.
You know, I think that is actually a big part of the problem. We make policy decisions based on compassion instead of a rational approach to solve a problem. Instead of, you know, the mayor, who I actually really like the mayor. I think he's wrong about a lot of stuff, but personally I like the mayor. He comes on my show once a month, the only Democrat to consistently come on my program, and I really appreciate that. But he rolled out a 5-point plan not too long ago. Was there a single new idea in that plan? The answer is no. So we're going to throw more money at the same problem.
You know, mind you, Hickenlooper started this with his road home.
Yeah.
He was going to end homelessness in 10 years.
Sure.
That's, 15, 16 years ago. At one point, he said something. I love it when politicians are off script, because that's when you hear them say, you know, that's why, you know, they're clinging to their guns and religion.
Sure.
That's when you didn't build that. You know, you get a sense of that. And he said, you know, we have this brand new prison that we never opened because we've been letting people out. So maybe we should use that as a place to put the homeless. And of course, the homeless industry. Let's make it for there is an industry that makes a lot of money off the homeless. They went wild. He never said it again. But the idea was, well, wait a second. There are beds. There's cafeterias. There's facilities. There's exercise. You know, we can put them there. We can convert this.
Do you remember I don't know if this story even made a blip. I think I was living in New York when it happened. New York City decided that welfare recipients could put in a little time, like cleaning the MTA, like picking up trash in the subway and things of that nature. We're not talking about lifting heavy rocks, right? We're talking about just some minor cleaning stuff up, and people lost their minds. As if asking someone to do physical work in exchange for money is somehow a horror show. And eventually they dropped the requirement because so many people were outraged. And I thought to myself, that's just really...
It goes right along with the extra $300 a week that our governor continues to pay the unemployed. Every other state that has gotten rid of the supplemental unemployment insurance has seen unemployment drop dramatically.
Fun employment, John. Fun employment.
Drink some beer. I'll look better for you. All right. Let's try to wrap this up. You and your husband, and I can't believe you waited 8 years to tell me you were married, that you wonder, are we going to stay here
Yeah.
when we retire? What's the decision? In other words, what would you base that on? So in 50 years after working in radio,
Yeah.
when you're 100, you'll be able to finally retire. What if Colorado does this, you'd be more likely to stay. If Colorado does that,
It also has to do, some of it has to do with climate. As I get older, do I really want to shovel snow? I'm thinking my answer might be no. But I'm already looking forward to snowbirding. I can't wait to drive a Cadillac just knuckles over the steering wheel, man. I am stoked about that. That's going to be awesome.
The Q-tip behind you.
Yeah, exactly. But, we're not, it's not like, oh, we're definitely leaving Colorado. Right. But if the ship does not get righted, at least in terms of the Republican Party being able to bring some semblance of balance to the legislature again, then we will be California very, very quickly. The legislature showed in this last session with the transportation bill that they don't care about Tabor. Tabor's just an insignificant little piece of paper. And that's the thing that has kept Colorado's economy so vibrant. Since, you guys came through the recession. I watched it. You guys came through the recession better than anybody else almost, because the government couldn't drive itself into debt and expect you to pay for it later. So those things, those protections which have been so valuable, if they get to be further eroded, why am I going to live here on a fixed income as a retiree when eventually all these bills come due and they come back and go, oh, sorry, we need more money, or we're going to default on whatever, or we're going to have to fire teachers and cops and firefighters. Nobody else ever gets fired. Like, you can't fire a secretary at, like the typing pool, but you got to fire cops and firefighters and teachers first.
It was Amendment 66. We did the campaign against Amendment 66. And the bit of information that bowled most people over was the amount of hiring in schools. Because we need it for the teachers. And we showed that teachers per student hasn't changed, but administrators have gone crazy.
Yeah.
And go, well, wait a second. It's not going to my kid. It's going to administrators. Right. There are only cops. Actually, it was interesting. Now with the Defund the Cops movement, I saw some ad, and it was only teachers and firefighters.
They can't afford to alienate any more police officers, so now,
there's
nursery
no
school teachers, that'll be next. Like, your child care provider, it's always like the worst. We're gonna have to fire your grandmother if you don't vote for a tax increase. It's like, okay, grandma's out of work, it'll be fine. It'll be good.
Grandma can find a job. She's good.
Can we just call this the ramble? Can we just the ramble? That's what this show should be today.
No, actually, there's a theme, a beautiful, wonderful theme that has been weaved through the tapestry of this conversation.
Like a master weaver.
Which was the changing of Colorado, and the heartbreak it is.
And I don't think it can be stopped.
Really,
I don't think the influx of people is going to stop.
No.
I really don't. As people are looking and they have more mobility to move wherever they want to move, I don't think that's going to stop. But we've lost our soul a little bit, and that's the part that's depressing. And can we get it back? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't believe under our current political ruling class, I don't feel good about that. So Costa Rica it is.
And you've only been here for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I've only been here since I was 6, and there's some who have been here multi-generations. And I can only imagine, when I say hurt, I really do mean that heartbreak of, this was beautiful.
Yeah.
We found heaven on earth, and it has been taken from us.
Every time I go to the Florida coastline and I see condo building after condo building after condo building all the way down the coast, my heart breaks in the same exact way. Yeah. But they have humidity, so I have no plans of ever going back there. That will
and gators.
Happen. Yeah, alligators are big, dumb dinosaurs. It's fine.
They're cool.
They're in every body of water. They don't bother you unless you feed them. It's fine. Alligators are no big deal. It's not like mountain lions. They'll mess you up.
We have alligators in Colorado.
But in a confined space. And I've seen alligators a million times.
Are you an alligator racist?
No, I'm an alligator farm purist. If there's not palm trees, I'm not buying what you're selling. I'm just saying. No, I'm just kidding.
It's
in Montrose, isn't it?
Yeah. And you know why?
Why?
Because there was a tilapia farm. These guys were raising tilapia, and they brought they had got a pet gator or something, and the gator would eat the entrails because they had to clean it. And then there was a hot spring there. And so
pet gator?
Or, yeah, back when you could mail order them way back when.
Sure,
whatever.
of course, like sea monkeys.
Yeah. And so they figured out there's the hot spring there. They're farming the tilapia. They got to do something with the entrails, so they feed them to the alligators. So now I forget which, you can go and see all the alligators that live in Colorado, taking jobs away from hardworking Coloradans, taking care of the entrails.
I don't think there was a big lineup for that. The largest alligator in captivity is now stuffed at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm in St. Augustine, Florida. His name is Gomeg, and I know far too much about alligator farms. So if you want to bring your alligator farm knowledge to me, I'll bat you down. I'll go, yeah. And
you can sit on one of the alligators at this place. They take
Where I'm from, they ride them, okay? They just strap them on one foot and the other, and it's like water skiing right down the river. It's fantastic. Rednecks where I live.
On that, we'll leave it on that. Mandy Connell, thank you.
Hey, a pleasure as always, John.
As always.
Did I tell you I was married?
Now you tell me. I can't believe after the weekend we had in Vegas, now you tell me that you're married.
That is not a thing. That is not a thing.
Not a thing anymore. I'm not going to be there for you anymore. You're on your own.
That's not a thing.
Goodbye. If you enjoyed that conversation, by all means, click one of these other great programs. We have the best conversations with the most fascinating Coloradans. And subscribe to our channel. Just click down below and hit that little bell button too. You don't want to miss a single show.